Pearl. In 1918 Texas, during the level of the Spanish influenza pandemic and the Second Great War, Pearl is a young lady residing with her German outsider guardians on their estate, without any her better half, Howard, who is serving abroad. Pearl's dad is sick and deadened, and her oppressive mother underlines the significance that Pearl care for himself and assist with keeping up with their ranch. Pearl, desolate, inclined to caprice and yearning for a really intriguing life, is enamored by the movies she sees at the nearby film and tries to turn into a corral young lady, much to her mom's objection. Pearl enjoys mishandling the fluid morphine gave to her dad to deal with his aggravation. At the film, Pearl meets a youthful projectionist who starts to appreciate her. While riding her bike home, Pearl stops along a cornfield and starts hitting the dance floor with a scarecrow, fantasizing about the projectionist, and sits on top of it. She later escapes the house around evening time and visits the projectionist, who shows her a complimentary lift, an unlawful stag film he obtained in Europe. He urges Pearl to seek after her fantasies while she is as yet youthful, and proposes she look for a lifelong in Europe. Pearl remarks that she can't forsake her family, and that she wishes they were dead. Pearl's more youthful and richer sister by marriage, Mitzi, tells her of a tryout being held to obtain new artists for a voyaging company, which Pearl imagines as an exit from her situation. At the point when her mom finds a leaflet Pearl took from the film, she defies her at supper. The two get into a wild contention, during which Pearl's mom rebukes her for just zeroing in on her needs and desires, before brutally let Pearl know that she looks at her as a disappointment, and that she has seen a vindictiveness in Pearl that scares her. An actual squabble emits, during which Pearl pushes her mom against the kitchen hearth, lighting her dress and bringing about her mom experiencing dangerous consumes. Pearl thoroughly searches in shock at her mom's dress consuming and rapidly splashes the blazes, which leaves her mom oblivious. Pearl hauls her mom, still alive, into the storm cellar and leaves her dad situated in the kitchen. She escapes to the film, where she has intercourse with the projectionist. In the first part of the day, the projectionist drives Pearl back to the homestead so she can get ready for the tryout. He becomes frightened when he sees a worm-plagued cooked pig on the patio, which Mitzi's mom left for them the day earlier. He is additionally annoyed by irregularities Pearl has told him. At the point when he endeavors to leave, Pearl flies into an angry outburst, feeling she is again being deserted. As he attempts to drive away, she cuts him to death with a pitchfork prior to driving his vehicle with his carcass in it into a lake, where a gator she has nicknamed Theta eats his remaining parts. Pearl keeps an eye on her mom, who lays semi-cognizant on the cellar steps and appears to one or the other bite the dust or pass out a couple of moments later, and criticizes her prior to kicking her down the flight of stairs. Pearl dresses herself in one of her mom's rich outfits, and washes and dresses her dad in a suit prior to covering him to death, supporting it as a benevolence-killing. Pearl shows up at the congregation where the tryout is being held, and is met by an anxious Mitzi, who demands she go before her. Pearl gives a dance execution she feels will win the headhunters over, yet is significantly distressed when they deny her for being not blonde or what they're searching for. Mitzi goes with Pearl home and endeavors to quiet her. In the kitchen, Pearl makes an extensive admission to Mitzi about her hatred toward Howard, who came to work at her family home as a farmhand. Pearl saw her union with Howard, the child of a high society family, as a method for getting away from her folks, yet was dejected when he demanded the two stay on her family's ranch. She further admits her sensations of estrangement and frailty, and concedes to having started killing livestock prior to ending the existences of her folks and the projectionist, which she laments particularly on account of her dad. She wraps up by saying that she truly cherishes Howard, that being adored is all she truly needs, and that she'll attempt to make the ranch a home assuming that that is what he needs. A staggered Mitzi endeavors to leave, anxiously guaranteeing Pearl she won't disclose their discussion. Pearl smoothly pushes Mitzi to admit that she was picked for the company by the headhunters, then discreetly watches her leave. A couple of moments later, she gradually follows Mitzi onto the yard and gets a hatchet. Mitzi endeavors to escape. Pearl pursues her down the carport and severely kills her with a hatchet. Pearl eviscerates Mitzi's body and feeds her cadaver to Theta, prior to going into the storm cellar and lying with her dead mother, whom she tells she adores. Having arrived at the resolution that her mom is right, and that Pearl ought to make the best of what she has, Pearl chooses to remediate her bad behaviors by making an agreeable home for Howard when he gets back from battle. The following morning, Howard shows up out of the blue. In the kitchen, he is stunned to find the dead groups of Pearl's folks situated at the eating table around the spoiling pig. Pearl welcomes him with an extended, tormented articulation of bliss.